Let's cut through the noise. Real masculinity is under attack, not just through media, but in classrooms, boardrooms, even in relationships. You're being told to tone it down, to be less, to water down the traits that once built empires, defended nations, and led families through chaos. And yet, deep down, you feel it. You're not meant to be soft. You're not here to play small. You're meant to be a protector, a leader, a man who stands firm no matter what. Real masculinity isn't outdated. It's just buried under layers of weak messaging, but it's still in you. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like and why the world is doing everything it can to kill it off. If you're the kind of man who's tired of feeling lost in a culture that doesn't know what to do with masculine strength, then my private coaching program is built exactly for you. Inside, we rebuild your mind, your discipline, and your identity from the ground up. Use the first link in the description down below to join us now and take back the part of yourself that the world is trying to erase. Let's break down what real masculinity actually looks like and why it's under constant fire. Real masculinity means mastering yourself first. A real man isn't ruled by impulse. He doesn't chase cheap dopamine, run from responsibility. At the core of masculinity is self-mastery. And that's exactly what today's culture hates. Because a man who masters himself can't be controlled. You see, masculinity isn't about dominating others. It's about first dominating yourself, your emotions, your cravings, your thoughts. The modern man is drowning in distractions, addictions, and soft comforts. But the masculine man, the one who's grounded in truth, chooses discipline over indulgence. He trains when it's hard. He speaks when it's uncomfortable. He stays focused when others drift. That's not just being responsible. That's taking command of your inner world so you can conquer the outer one. And here's the kicker. This kind of control, this kind of discipline doesn't happen by accident. It's built, forged through trial and repetition. The world will tell you to indulge, to relax, to go easy on yourself. But that's the trap. Every time you give in to weakness, you're voting against the man you're trying to become. Real masculinity means you lead yourself before you think about leading anyone else. That's why it's under attack. Because once a man learns to master himself, he's no longer a pawn. He's a weapon. A threat to every system built on male mediocrity. Masculine men embrace hardship instead of running from it. Most men today are allergic to struggles. They want rewards without effort, admiration without sacrifice, and strength without pain. But real masculinity is forged in hardship. It's not something you're born with. It's something you build through resistance. A masculine man doesn't avoid difficulty. He walks straight into it. Why? Because he knows that pressure is the only path to power. It's the man who embraces the weight of life, who doesn't flinch when things get hard, who becomes unshakable. Whether it's physical training, building a business, protecting a family, or fixing his weaknesses, he leans in. He doesn't make excuses. He doesn't ask for shortcuts. He does what needs to be done, especially when it's uncomfortable. And this mindset is exactly what modern culture wants to eliminate. They want you dependent, soft, and constantly chasing comfort. Because men who avoid hardship are easier to control. They don't push back. They don't take risks. They sit down and shut up. But when you become the man who runs towards the struggle, who welcomes adversity like an old friend, you become dangerous. Not in a destructive way, but in a way that makes weakness nervous. You become the man others lean on when the storm hits. That's real masculinity. Enduring what others avoid, doing the work, carrying the load, and walking through fire without breaking. Masculinity is about order, not chaos. One of the most misunderstood aspects of masculinity is its relationship with structure. Real men bring order. They organize the chaos of the world around them because they've already done it within themselves. Think about it. The masculine man builds systems, routines, discipline, and values into everything he does. He knows that without order, nothing meaningful lasts. Your body breaks down, your relationships fracture, your goals fade into fantasy. But modern society is allergic to this kind of order. We live in a culture obsessed with comfort and instant gratification. Chaos is being sold to men as freedom. Do what you want, when you want, how you want. But all that leads to is brokenness. This order is never freedom, it's decay. That's why a man who creates structure, who builds rules into his life, sets standard, and lives with clarity is a direct threat to the chaos that's being sold as modern masculinity. He's not easily manipulated. He doesn't get lost in trends. He doesn't get pulled into drama. And if you're tired of living without structure, drifting through life without discipline or direction, then join my private coaching program. Inside, we build a framework for success, physical, mental, and personal. No fluff, just results. Use the first link in the description down below and join us. It'll be one of the best decisions of your life. And step into a version of masculinity that doesn't just survive, it dominates and thrives. Masculine men protect what matters. Masculinity is rooted in protection, not just dominance. A masculine man doesn't use his strength to abuse. He uses it to defend. Whether it's his woman, his kid, his principles, or his vision. He's the wall that stands between what he loves and what threatens it. But that kind of man is rare now. Why? Because protection requires strength. It requires vigilance. It requires sacrifice. And those traits aren't being taught anymore. In fact, they're being actively discouraged. Men are being told to be passive, to avoid confrontation, to not rock the boat. But what happens when men refuse to protect? Everything falls apart. A man who protects understands his role. He doesn't shrink from it. He doesn't wait for someone else to lead. He steps into danger even when it costs him something. And that doesn't just mean physical defense. It also means protecting values, boundaries, and the people who depend on you. This is why real masculinity threatens the narrative. Because when a man steps up to protect, he forces others to do the same. He holds the line. He demands standards. And that kind of influence can't be ignored or replaced. So ask yourself, what are you protecting? Your time, your vision, your people? Or are you just drifting, hoping someone else will handle it? Real men don't hope. They act, they defend, and they fight when it matters most. Real masculinity is under attack because it represents something the world can't fake or manipulate. Power that comes from within. You can't buy it, you can't fake it, you can't lie your way into it. It has to be built, earned, and lived out. A masculine man is dangerous to the system that relies on weak, dependent men. Why? Because he doesn't need constant validation. He doesn't wait for permission. He isn't swayed by emotional manipulation or public pressure. He knows who he is, what he stands for, and where he's going. And that kind of man, you can't control him. You can't guilt him into silence. You can't scare him into compliance. You can either respect him or fear him, but you can't ignore him. This is why you see such a coordinated effort to attack masculinity in media, schools, and the culture at large. They want obedient males, not strong men. They want emotional followers, not disciplined leaders. And the minute you start building your masculine core, you become the exception. So fight back, not with outrage, not with bitterness, but by becoming the kind of man they can't cancel, they can't bend, and they can't beat. Masculinity is not toxic, it's not outdated, and it sure isn't dead, not if you choose to rise. Real masculinity is strength, structure, protection, discipline, and leadership. It's what holds families, drives progress, and keeps society from falling apart. And if you're ready to build that in yourself, not just talk about it, but actually live it, then join my private coaching program. We don't sell comfort. Use the first link in the description and start your transformation today. The world doesn't need more followers. It needs better men, stronger men, masculine men. So the question is, will you be one of them?